Hey guys, welcome back to my Minecraft world. It's episode 40, and it feels like it's been forever since I've made a video on here. I think my last video was the decked out video, and yeah, it's been a while. I'll get into why it's been a while towards the end. Let's just get into the new stuff, shall we? Saying that, let's do a quick recap. Yeah, last time, built this row of houses. Quite happy with how they look. And yeah, I'm starting to do bigger chunks of the town in one go. It's not just, well, I'm trying not to just do one building at a time. Or at least I'm trying to do bigger buildings at a time, or whatever. So, a couple of updates, stuff I did between videos. I've brought the road down here, and I've been preparing this bit of terrain. I think I said in the last video, this is going to be a school. Yeah, I've been preparing the ground a little bit. And yeah, trying to extend the road down here. So this is going to be, I don't think this is going to be where the road ends, because we've got to bring the road up to this building. And there's going to be more like factories and stuff here, but I at least brought it down to this bit where I think there's going to be a fire station here, maybe. What else did I do between videos? Oh, I added another little farm underground. I need to get some dyes, and I'm using cyan everywhere, right? Because I'm doing, I use it as like one of the colors that represent copper in my world. So I didn't realize these things. Or maybe I did realise, I don't know. But I was reminded that these create cyan dye. So, yeah, I've just planted a bunch of these down here. I've kept them as flowers in case I want to use them for decoration. But, yeah, these are all here now. Growing. What else? I'm having an issue with this. I previously have already shown this off, I think. But I'm having an issue where these all grow fine, except these two just don't grow unless I bone meal them, which kind of like, what's the point? Defeats the point of just having them here growing. Ooh, let's look at the. I just every time I'm down here, I check in on how the wheat farm's doing. Yeah, just churning away in the background. So yeah, I was clearing space for the school, and that's all kind of prepared now. The other thing that I've kind of been alluding to is the hospital over here. Yeah, the school is all fully ready to go. The hospital, I've started designing it. I've got kind of, I know what I'm trying to do, and I've like sketched it out and stuff, and I've built pretty much most of the like the old style building, and now I'm about to start on the more modern sort of extension of the hospital. So yeah, that's coming along nicely. Yeah, speaking of the school, actually, I have all the materials pre-prepared. Normally I just have like a few shulker boxes on here. I'm like, oh, this is for the next build, next episode. This is actually for today. But yeah, all this is for the school build. It's going to be a big one. Yeah, that's took quite a while to get together. So anyway, today's episode, it's episode 40. So every 5 episodes, I try and do a lore-themed episode. So this time, I'm finally going to add some exhibits to the museum. So there's not going to be kind of like big builds. It's kind of just going to be, yeah, little exhibits and stuff. But it's a bunch of smaller things that are going to add sort of significant extra depth. Yeah, so another thing I had to do between videos, I needed dyes, as I said. So one of the things I did was I went out and I did a bunch of flower farms out in a flower forest, which I feel like I did it in not the smartest way, and the flower maps were confusing to me. Like I guess there must be some verticality to them as well, because I was getting a lot more pink tulips than I thought I was getting. I thought I was getting the lily of the valley. Is that what they're called? I was just getting flowers that I wasn't expecting based on what was already on the ground when I built the farms there. But yeah, now I've got like a bunch of I think these are actually new, but I got a ton of these. I need to go find a swamp and get these because I quite like these and I use them a lot for because there's no like cyan flower, so I use that as like the weathered copper color and the copper color with the orange tulip when I'm putting flowers around. I got some tulips. I didn't bother getting a bunch of red ones because we've got the poppies and we can just bone meal the rose bush whenever. But yeah, I've got yeah, I didn't really need to get the pink ones, but yeah, as I said, I was expecting to get these instead. And actually, the reason I went and did this because I wanted a bunch of light grey dye, and yeah, I had to go on a bit of a squid killing spree. So I've got more squid heads now, at least. But yeah, those little flower farms I used, they were the design I got from a Shulkercraft video. I always like using Shulkercraft videos because it's just like there's no fluff on the video. It's just here's what you have to do to make the thing. Straight to the point. I like that with tutorials. So I'll leave a link to that in the description. So another thing I did was I needed some leather armor, and yeah, my stock of like random loot and stuff, I'm out of the leather armor. So I was like, where does I get all my leather armor? I don't want to craft it, so I'll just go get it from where I got it originally. And that was out over here, not quite here, past my starter village, and through the mountain. You know, I'm not sure I've ever actually shown this place off, but down here is my combined skeleton zombie spawner. So yeah, I came down here, spent an evening just watching all the new Hermitcraft Season 10 videos, and I was just sitting here with my looting sword, just trying to gather some leather armor. It was not particularly fruitful, as you might imagine. I am on hard mode, am I? Yeah. So the armored zombies and stuff were spawning more than typically, if you're playing on normal, I guess. But yeah, I used to just keep running into the problem of this double chest being overflowing with leather armor. That's why I had like the extra stockpile of it in a shop. Let's get out of here because it's going to be noisy. But yeah, that was because I had been collecting leather armor and repairing it actually. So this is how long that I was using this spawner for XP and stuff. That was for like a year and a half maybe. It was a long while, probably a year of using that spawner. You know what? I'm going to check my starter house if I have any leather armor here. I didn't think to check that. Oh wait, yeah, no, I've gutted this place already. Anything in here? No. There's stuff in here I could have taken. Damn it. Well, yeah, that was a stupidly slow process. So the next place I thought to go was, well, I don't want to use all my leather up that I have stockpiled in my warehouse. Let's go and get some more. Surely I have a ton in the gold farm. Yeah, the reason I have leather in my warehouse is because I had previously gutted my gold farm piglin trading post. I think, yeah, just got one stack left. I might just take that actually. And this needs to be turned off. So this is how you know that I play a lot with the sound turned off. I'm usually like watching YouTube videos or listening to a podcast or an audiobook or something. Yeah, I didn't realize that was still turned on. Anyway, back to the town. So what I actually ended up doing was just I flew around the town and killed a bunch of cows. And when you see how much leather I still actually have left over, you'll wonder why did I do that? Yeah, I think I used up like a stack and a half in the end. So it was just kind of not worth it. I could have just done that anytime. But I've got all my armor sets prepared. I say prepared, I've got them built. I still need to dye them. Yeah, before we get into building the exhibits, I got one more thing I did. And that was, I went back to the desert, and I went back to the ancient city that I originally looted, probably like 25, 30 episodes back. And I kind of had some beef to settle with the wardens there, because I ended up losing all my gear at some point. So you can see in this little replay mod clip, I went back, I built a stack of wool, and it was like, I googled the range of the warden sonic blast thing, and it says it's 20 blocks. So I built 20 plus blocks, I'm pretty sure. I did lose count, but I think I got distracted, right? And I'm pretty sure I built this platform 20 plus blocks high. The first guy, it was fine. He couldn't hit me. He was like right underneath me. Took him out. I thought, okay, I'm gonna get more than one head. The next guy, I didn't block this bit of wall off, so he just took me out because he could reach me. So I ended up having to run away. I went all the way back up to the surface, came down thinking he's probably despawned. He was still there. I ended up dying, which was really annoying. I even freaked out a bit because I thought I'd lost my bow. Turns out it was still down there, but I escaped again with all my stuff. I thought, okay, I've got to wait it out. But how am I going to find out if he's despawned without going down there? And he's like right at the base of my bubble elevator. So logged out, installed the free cam mod so I could like basically watch for when he despawns. Went back down, then I aggroed another warden. That one found a different path to get a bit higher and he could hit me, so I had to block off somewhere else, and then I ended up having to escape and wait for him to despawn. Then I went back down again, and it just became so much hassle, and I just got so annoyed. I kept getting hit. I ran out of totems, so I just left. And this is what I escaped with. I actually found a chest that I hadn't looted, so I got a new mending book and a echo shard. But yeah, I only managed to get away with one warden head, and I hate these guys. I hate them so much. One day I will go back or even just find more. I need warden heads because they're part of my world lore now. So yeah, hopefully at some point I'm gonna go back and I don't know, just get my actual like true revenge, because now I've got to make up for two journeys to the ancient cities that have wronged me. But yeah, let's start, I guess. Actually, I just put that away. Let's get the warden head. Let's start with the warden exhibit. I've predetermined what exhibits I'm making today, but I haven't designed them at all, so I have no idea how big these are going to be. Okay, we've got this kind of dark corner in here where I could probably add a bit more light, so that'd be maybe a nice place to put our soul campfires and candles and stuff. Okay, so let's try and work something out here. Okay guys, exhibit 1 finished, and yeah, I might need to fix the armor color. So I tried to dye it so it would kind of look like the warden. I think it needs to be darker, a bit more cyan maybe. But yeah, so we've got this kind of little mock segment of the deep dark of an ancient city. I've kind of just like made a corner of a structure that's been a bit taken over by Skulk, and then I put in some little grey carpet bits because there's like grey wool in the floor usually. Then yeah, I just added these little light bits. Didn't really light up this corner very much, but I blame the what are these called, soul lanterns. They're not very bright, so yeah. Tried to get this posed so it's like he's doing his like shriek attack thing, or like the bit where he like screams before, or whatever he does before he sonic booms you. But yeah, I've got this little thing done. I quite like it. The fire's a lot more, I don't know, loud than I realised. But then I've also put in the little lectern, so we've got like the description thing next to the exhibit. So let's have a quick look at this. So this is actually lore from my episode 25, which is like my big lore episode where I set out a bunch of the like ancient history of the world and like the creation of this universe and stuff. So it might be repeating a bit of stuff, but I've tried to flesh out a little bit more. So let's just read this. The Wardens of Old. In ancient times, the god of the underworld soldiers, the Wardens, were instrumental in the development of human society. Contrary to modern superstitions, Wardens were once the benevolent extension of their god's nature, a nurturing hand from the deep protecting the natural world and upholding the laws of nature. This allowed for early humans to survive the dangers of the night until they developed technologically and militaristically, hoping that's a word, to the point that they could defend themselves. Unfortunately, with the mysterious departure of the underworld god, the Wardens reverted to their base instruction, protecting the realm of their master, what we now call ancient cities, and they are now hostile to any they deem to be trespassing, whether they be human, dwarf or elf, and not just their original foes, zombies, skeletons and the like. This is why many view them today as just another monster in the dark. So yeah, if you go back and check out episode 25 if you haven't seen it before, I've got this clip where they're out on the surface and they're protecting people at night and they're taking out zombies and stuff in a village. It was cool. I liked doing that sort of stuff. Yeah, Wardens. That's first exhibit done. I quite like this actually. Okay, so the next exhibit requires me to go back to World Spawn and have a look at the structure that we built there a long time ago. And that is the Spawn Temple. So, oh, here we go. Right, now that I have the cheaty cam, free cam mod, let's do this. So, yeah. Oof. Need to come back and dress up this path a bit more. Kind of hate how this looks in retrospect. Right. So, if you're not familiar, brief lore on this is World Spawn, right? So, can I bring this up? Yeah. So if you look in the top left, I've got my my mini HUD stuff to show coordinates. I'm basically at 0, 0. 0, 0 should be in the middle. Yeah, 0, 0. So this is a temple built at World Spawn because at some point in the world's history, there were these select few people who ended up becoming kind of heroes. These are kind of like superheroes in my world, right? Where people started to realize, oh, when these people die, they show up again at this point in the world. So part of the way I want lore in this world to work is it has to reflect the fact it's taking place in Minecraft. So that's a way that I've kind of made that work, is that, oh, this is where people show up if they haven't slept in a bed, right? So, hello? Someone got a visitor? Okay, so this is something that I've noticed recently, right? This portal has been built on the nether roof, so there's nothing spawning up there. So where has this guy come from? I've noticed this in places where, other portals where the portal's on the nether roof. How do these guys show up? Like, do they just... Oh, he's gone now. Where's he gone? Has he gone back through the portal? Did they just spawn from portals sometimes? I don't know. Anyway, back to this. So, yeah, this is like a deeply important part of the world, especially for humans, because I haven't decided yet if these respawning people, if they appear in the other species, namely if there are any dwarf or elf versions of these. The elves are going to be tricky because they've already ascended and left the planet. So I'm not sure about them, but they will have been involved in the history of these people at some point, as evidenced by the geode, which is like an elf symbol. So yeah, geode down here as well. So I think the next exhibit is going to have a chunk of this spawn egg. Spawn egg, world spawn temple, get it? So yeah, I think I'm going to try and do this sort of chunk here, maybe. Don't normally get to see this bit. And the fact that there's just like ugly torches up here. But yeah, in fact, can I do shaders? Oof, that was rough. Okay, it doesn't work because it's at daytime, but I think at night, yeah, it should light up the underneath of the egg a little bit. That was the effect I was going for. Plus, I just didn't want stuff to spawn in here. Okay, so spawn temple. Let's go build a little mini version of this and get some of the spawn egg going. Okay, I just finished writing the lore for this little bit. Don't like this one as much. I've tried to make it a bit more 3D, but I've managed to fit it. I figured I was going to have this map of the spawn temple, and then I've got maps here already, so let's shove it in this corner. Yeah, I think what I wouldn't give to have slabs of like all these blocks, so I can make a little more detailed little display in the corner. But I've got the spawn egg chunk, obviously, and then I've tried to copy the sort of general structure of the temple itself. I had like the dark bits around the corners, and then the middle bit was all stone and whatnot. So yeah, got this done. This bit of lore was quite interesting to me, actually. So this is a museum in the world, so the descriptions in these books have got to reflect the perspective of people in the world, right? So before I read this, a recap of the lore behind the spawn temple. There's this idea of like the player character existing in this world, and how do you account for them dying and respawning? I've got these like superhero-esque sort of characters who they reappear at world spawn when they die, right? But then my lore reason for how that came about, again going back to episode 25, is we have the god in the end who is kind of like my Grim Reaper type character. And when the ancient elves realized they could kill the Ender Dragon and respawn it and like farm it basically for like dragon's breath and stuff, that messed with the end god's powers. And then a few of these humans started to appear where their life and death cycle was interrupted because the end god had this like lapse in control of her powers or whatever. I'm pretty sure my end god is a she. The human people inhabiting this town who set up this museum, they don't know that stuff about the end god and the ancient elves doing this wacky stuff. So yeah, I've had to write it from the perspective of the modern day human historians writing about stuff that happened before there were humans, basically. So spawn temple. This fragment of the famous egg geode is taken from the temple built in honor of the fabled perpetuals. So I've stolen the name of the perpetuals from Warhammer 40k for these player characters that they can't die fully, they just keep respawning, right? So perpetuals, which is visited today by people seeking help and blessings from these mythical entities. The temple marks the site where they reportedly would reappear post-mortem and walk amongst us again, working ever to aid, protect and guide us from the shadows. These supernatural beings are so rare and secretive that some consider tales of their feats and adventures to be merely myth, spelled wrong, and legend. I'll fix that in a moment. It's thought that, like the wardens of old, the perpetuals were much more common, or at least commonly encountered, and helped humans in a less advanced age. Over time, as we grew as a society and were able to greatly protect ourselves, the perpetuals began to fade from the history books, and they appear to have been needed less by the general populace. It is unknown if there are still active perpetuals working in the world today, with stories of their exploits usually dismissed as sensationalism. Again, going back to that episode 25 lore, I think I've kind of likened these people to like witches, where they're like traveling heroes for hire type guys. I like less how this worked out and more how this worked out. But yeah, I was trying to fit this into a small space. Anyway, next thing I want to do, actually, let's go back upstairs. So I've got a few armor stands dotted around, and I think I've said a couple of times in previous videos, I want to have like a copper armor set. So, yeah, we're inside the museum, so I feel like we can have some fun with like how copper works in the game. And it's got the different stages of aging. So we're in the museum. These are going to be like pristine, restored sets of armor. We'll have an exhibit where we've got armor from each of the different like copper aged stages. Then I've got a little display in the library. So we've got this display in the middle where I think I meant these to be copper armor sets, so I'll fix those. I've got other armor sets where it's just like generic armor bits, but these are like main display armor sets in the library's collection, so I'll do those. And then I've got an important one out here where this is like a focal point in the town, especially like outside the castle as well. So I've got to do this one. I've got to dye this armor and all that other leather armor that I was talking about before. Yeah, and this is why I need all the dyes. So, right, I need to make sure I dye these properly. So I made a list. I found a website. I can't remember it right now off the top of my head. It's not in my notes, so I'll try and find it again, and I'll link that in the description as well. Yeah, I found a site where you can find a color basically, and then it'll tell you the combination of dyes that you need. I used it for finding a good color for like the copper colored stuff, like the more orangey colored stuff, whereas the weathered, like the more teal sort of color, I kind of just winged it and it turned out kind of perfect, if I'm honest. We'll see that in a second. The other thing I need to do is I need silence armor trims, I've decided. And I've only got one, so I need to make 9 armor sets. So I've got 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I've got 9 armor sets to make. So hopefully I don't need to go mining and find more diamonds. I haven't delved into my stockpile of diamond ores for a long time because I kind of just haven't needed to. That's a little worrying. I think the average, if you average out diamonds per block with Fortune 3, it comes out as like 2.2 or something. So, oh dear, this might be bad. I might need to go mining for diamonds. Okay, I definitely have 250 something there. I think 252 I need. So let's grab this. Okay, there we go. So I need 36, and then I've got 1 left over to go back in the trims decks. Right, and then... oh, man. My poor diamond stash. So, well, at least there is a function for diamonds again now. Like, I'm not on a multiplayer world where maybe diamonds are a currency. Okay, so let's start churning through this armor. Feels a bit crazy to be putting trim on all this leather armor when I still haven't put any trims on my actual netherite set that I use all the time. Now I need to dye all this stuff. So this is gonna be a little interesting. I need to make 3 sets of this pristine armor, right? So the combo I need is red, 4 orange, a light grey, and a pink. That should technically be the right colour, right? But the colour changes if I use the dyes separately. I might be screwing this up here. These come out as different colours. So yeah, they come out different. And yeah, what I've realised is this one kind of works for the first stage of weathering, and then this one kind of works for just the unweathered copper. So by accident I found the 2 colours that I need, basically. Okay, so I've got my full set of this weathered set, and I've gone with this trim. I should have said this probably already, because it seems to add the most of the trim material of any of the armor trims. So yeah, that's why I've gone with that one. Because originally I was like, I need an armor set to look like it's made of copper. But in light of the sort of, it needs to make sense in the world sort of thing, I've kind of changed my mind on that. So I'll get into that though when I write my little book for the exhibit. So there we go. That's my unaged copper, and then the first stage. This is the second stage of weathering. So we need 1 cyan, 1 lime, and 1 white dye. And then the fully weathered one is just an extra cyan. Is that right? Hold on. So doesn't look like much. Hopefully this has worked. So this is the first stage, the second stage of weathering, and then this is fully weathered. Let's deal with this guy. Doing my head in. Let me just go get some blocks. Okay, let's do this, and this, and this. So, it works out so nicely that just that one difference of one cyan dye. Yeah, I really kind of just lucked into that one. Yeah, let's just get these all dyed up, and then I can go and actually put these all in context and put them back in their rightful places. Okay, got all my stuff dyed up. Let's start out here first. First armor set done. Next to the library. And I need 1 each of these ones. So let's put this one here. You know what, I think this is meant to be for, I don't know, like a dwarf armor set. So I've got the dwarf banner up here. But it's too late now. Done it. And I quite like that anyway. I didn't even realise that I had got the achievement there. There's another one to tick off the list. Okay, so that's the library one done. Let's get it all in one frame. Pretty cool. Okay, now need the trusty scaffolding. I want the pristine ones to go up here. Okay, there it is. 2 pristine sets up here. And then I've just noticed I've got this ugly bit of wood discoloration going on here, and it's 4 blocks wide, and yeah, we've got this to cover it up with. So let's put our armor sets on here. Check that out. That's pretty cool. So this actually, now I see it, is a bit duller than actual copper, but I think that's because, I don't know, I was trying to match it to like the actual trim. I think it kind of works. But anyway, I think I was about to say it before, but yeah, I wanted to try and kind of get it to make sense. Ugh, keep falling off it. I want to try and make it make sense in the world, right? So, obviously in Minecraft there isn't actually copper armor in the game. And I mean, there's undoubtedly going to be a mod somewhere I could probably download and have just like copper armor like you have iron armor. But I think I've worked out like a workaround to make this armor that I've made make more sense. So we're going back to the medieval period, like back in the starter village. In fact, we can go over here. I don't need to go all the way back to the starter village. I've got the map of it here. So it's the site of where one of the nether gods, the good one, like the nice one, came and visited humanity for probably the first time and taught them about metalworking, and they taught them with copper. So that's why copper is an important symbol in the human society. And you see it like, even though this is like a medieval town, medieval village, it shows up in the roofs of buildings and stuff. And then you have the like oranges and like cyan and stuff shows up a bunch. Copper, so like a softer material than iron, so it wouldn't make for good plate mail anyway. Sounds like it's raining again. So yeah, learning metalworking, realize let's make our armor and like our chainmail with iron because it's tougher. But copper has become like this cultural thing, so that's why humans have added it as like ornamentation and like and some extra resilience. But they've added it to their leather armor, the lightweight armor that maybe like hunters and gatherers wore going out into the wilderness, where they need to remain quiet because they're stalking their prey, but also they need to be protected against if they're out at night and zombies and skeletons show up. Yeah, I think originally it's kind of like it wouldn't have been used for armor, but eventually they use it for like decorative, like ornamental sort of stuff, putting the trim on, and maybe it's like a blessing or sort of thing for like, oh, I'm honoring the entity, the nether god, who taught us how to do this. Like, I'm seeking favor and protection when I'm out in the wilderness, dodging zombies and stuff. And the way I'm kind of envisioning this in my head is maybe it looks more like the armor of like maybe the Gondorian soldiers, like the rangers that like Faramir is part of in Lord of the Rings. The thing that I'm thinking of is when Aragorn is putting on Boromir's pauldrons after he's died at the end of Fellowship. Spoiler. And you can see like the ornamentation on his armor. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay, so having just written this book, I've realized that the copper trim thing makes no sense when the leather bit is the bit that's aged. So this isn't dyed leather, I'm saying now. In fact, I'm going to amend the book. This is copper infused leather, so that's why the leather bit has changed color, and maybe the copper trim parts have remained copper colored because of their blessing quality. It's been magic infused because there's magic in this world, and the trim bit is the blessed bit. It's like it's been like touched by a priest or something, so it's remained pristine. Let me just amend the book. So, copper armor. These armor sets represent the light armor used by scouts and hunters centuries ago. The set on the left has been restored to appear as it would have when it was crafted, and as you move to the right, we see how the sets have aged to appear as they do today. The leather has been copper infused for strength and resilience. Just give that to me, guys. I don't know if that's a real thing, but it's magic, it's fantasy world nonsense, okay? And has changed colour over time from being exposed to the elements. Meanwhile, the pure copper trim has retained its colour as a result of magical blessings by medieval artisan priests. And I've come up with that artisan priest term to refer to like the people who perhaps studied or were tutored directly by the entity who taught them how to do the metalworking. Okay, so that's this one. I think now the next thing is I'm going to populate some of the space down the bottom, and to kind of set up what we're doing next, I need to go on a bit of a trek. So I'm going to put my shulker boxes away, and I'll see you. I'll see you in the next bit. Okay, so in a previous lore video, was this a lore video? I think it was. Yeah, it must have been. We built these ruins over here, and they used to be the kind of the site of an old observatory. I also built this little parkour thing. Let's see if I can still do it. Right, I think it's boom. No, how do I do this? Make it. Oh, I didn't make it. So you meant to do this without elytra on, but even with elytra, I can't do it apparently. Oh dear, this is embarrassing. My own parkour. Let's just glide there. Let's cheat. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, this isn't the designed path, but I have elytra on so I can cheat. This was the tough bit, as I recall. So I think I meant to get. Am I meant to get on here, or no? I meant to go on there, I think. And then was it on there? Oh man, I forget. I think I'm not. I think I am meant to get on here, but this was like a. Oh, that's right. This was a failsafe if I didn't make the jump. So, oh dear me. So yeah, there's a parkour course up here, and yeah, these are the ruins of the observatory. If we go back to the episode where I built this, I think I show a shot of this like fully constructed as it used to be. I think I meant to come back and add some lore, some research notes here. But yeah, we've got this observatory which was built to reflect this place, kind of. So the original inhabitant of the town, particularly the castle, came here, as well as some other like human scholars from around the world, and came here to learn from the elves how to do astronomy and like navigating by the stars and stuff. Can I make it in here? Yeah. So we've got this this little like lecture room, classroom type thing. All the elf magic, floating candles and stuff. So we've got to represent this place and the crumbling tower in our next two exhibits, which I think are going to take up like the ground floor of the museum. So yeah, I'm going to head back and go do that. Okay, I am done with building exhibits today. Right, so let's start on the left, shall we? I have added a couple more things since the time lapse. We've got essentially this sort of kind of mock-up of part of the ruins, especially like the path leading up to it, where we've got all the deep slate, like crumbling walls and stuff covering up the steps. Then we've got what is essentially the unruined telescope that I mentioned, like from the where I had the pristine tower before it started to crumble, basically. Yeah, we've got the same sort of telescope design. This one's a little bigger, I think, than the one. Actually, no, this is the same size as the one in the elf tower. I'm pretty sure in the elf village. But this one, it's not existed in this elf magic preserved state its whole existence. So this one's actually weathered, whereas any of the ones that I'll ever build in an elf settlement, they'll be like still the pristine orange copper. The elves have their caretaker who basically just upholds their mark on the world now that they've all left. The other thing that's missing actually is I've got another trapdoor that should be on the top. Man, I'm looking forward to copper trapdoors. But yeah, it wouldn't fit there because we've got these jungle slabs in the ceiling, so it's fine. You can't tell from down here. Then yeah, I've got some small little trinkets around. Got one spyglass here, which maybe this belonged to someone. Maybe this belonged to the town founder or something. Some of his some writings from when he went to the elf town to learn about telescopes and astronomy and so on. And then some more books maybe from his collection. And we've got the lore book here. Telescope and Ruins. This exhibit features the original telescope built by the town founder after his scholarly voyage to acquire elvish knowledge in astronomy and navigation. Upon returning to the town, an observatory tower was constructed on a nearby hill where humanity's own foray into the sciences was, in part, fostered and blossomed, making this town one of the early beacons of scientific progress in human society. Right, so I've put in part because I like to think that maybe this is one of like the other scholars that also went there to learn. They all went and did their own thing, but they kept in touch, I imagine. So in part, this is one part of that whole of the like human academia at the time, like starting to get into science and whatnot. So yeah, that's like the human side. Then we've got the elf side. So yeah, we've got just some. Ooh, I didn't know it made a noise when you punched it. I thought it was just like when you walked on this one. Huh. Today I learned. So yeah, I've got some quartz crystals on here. Quartz crystals, some amethyst crystals. And then I've got these mini blocks, copper and amethyst, which is the, if these were ingots and this was an individual amethyst crystal, this would be the crafting recipe for a spyglass. So yeah, I've got some more like, maybe these are human scholars' writings on the elves. And then we have a sort of a mini version of the elf town buildings. And then I've done this trick again where I've got an invisible armor stand holding up a spyglass so it looks like it's floating. Some little elf magic here. That's something I did in the elf town, so yeah, I've replicated that here. Then, because they're elves, they've got the geode represented in all their architecture usually, so I brought a representation of a geode here. And then the elf town also had a bunch of azalea stuff, some cherry trees. And then, yeah, we've got the coloured candles which were floating everywhere in the elf town, but magic on display in the human society is used very sparingly. So we've only got this floating. These are not floating. If we think of it in like a Harry Potter sense, like Muggle technology doesn't work near Hogwarts because there's too much magic around there and all that sort of stuff, too much interference. So maybe that's why it's not used so excessively, and especially in like this public place where people would be coming around looking at stuff. They do. Like modern day people with their phones and stuff, like maybe they don't want to interfere with all that stuff. And then just as a representation of elvish magic, I've got an mini enchanting table block. So let me just sleep the night away. Okay, and then we've got the lore book for this one. Again, this is like it's got to be the in-world perspective, right? So, yeah, this is written like from a human's perspective in the world. So, it said the entity once visited the elves as it did the medieval humans. However, rather than teaching them the methods for metalworking, the elves learnt the knowledge of lens crafting, and thus the telescope was invented to better equip them to observe the heavens. This advancement in elvish society gave birth to science and ultimately resulted in the world we live in today. Not just because we live in a world post-elf departure, but also because the first elf caretaker passed on this aspect of science to humanity, therefore kickstarting our own technological revolutions. So I've got to go and proofread all my books apparently. But yeah, that's that is on. Yeah, that's gonna be it for the museum stuff. So let's do a quick check on what we built. Got a little ancient city, deep dark warden exhibit. Talking about my like in-universe version of the wardens. I quite like this one. Little like diorama sort of thing. Maybe I'll put another slab here. Do I still have? I don't have any more deep slate slabs on me. But yeah, maybe I'll put another one there. I think the next one was the spawn egg. Got a little mini representation of the spawn temple and the chunk of the egg that's like crumbled off. I think actually this back corner makes more sense. Then we did the copper armor sets, which I think I really like this like gradient thing matching the blocks. I'm quite proud of that. And then that brings us to what we just did, which is these two exhibits. Yeah, I feel like I've kind of incrementally fleshed out some lore here. Like, I've kind of already talked about a bunch of this stuff before, but I'm fleshing it out a bit more. So it's not just like, oh, there was this guy and he did this thing. It's like, no. There's this guy and like this character that I seem to be building up now, who originally is like the founder of the town, built the castle, and like with the wealth that came from leading the town, I guess, went out and like met with the elf caretaker and learnt science and stuff, and then brought it back and helped his town to prosper and all this sort of stuff. But I've not talked about him like directly. He's shown up in other little bits of lore. So maybe that's how I finish the town, is when everything's built and I'm ready to move on. That could be like the last episode of like working on the town, could be wrapping up the town's history with like the town founder and his story, and also the town's history. That could be cool. I can see the armor stands from outside as well. That's kind of cool. I like that. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm going to leave it for the episode. I'm going to talk a bit about the stuff I mentioned at the beginning, like why I took, not voluntarily really, some time off. There's nothing like, not for any like serious reason. Yeah, I did say in, I think the row of houses video, those Tudor houses, I had meant to kind of like really hit the ground running a bit on the start of this year, and really kind of get back to this, try and make a bunch of progress on the town. Let's do this. Let's do free cam. Interesting. You can zoom in free cam as well. But yeah, I got a bit sidetracked, and I was kind of putting off this video as well for a while, because I knew it was going to be a really talky one, and yeah, I just haven't really had the most opportune times to record like long sections of me talking. But I have managed to kind of keep planning stuff. Like I said before, the school is done. That's ready to be built. I'm making a lot of progress on the hospital. I'm planning a build that's like 10 episodes away. And I've been trying to like think about the law and stuff more. Speaking of the school, here's something that I've been working on. So I saw this in, I think Impulse did this in season 9 of Hermitcraft. He had a banner on a shield, put it on an armor stand and turned it sideways, and then now it's a computer screen. I've kept the armor stand here just because I couldn't be bothered to remove it. But yeah, I did that, and then I took a banner and did like bricks and stripes and stuff, and now I've got a little keyboard. So that's something I need to put in the school, in like the computer lab. Is yeah, I've got computers worked out. Yeah, anyway. So what else have I been doing in all this time off? Well, there we go. I also talked about in that episode, I want to try and get some music released that I've had written for ages, and maybe getting a little personal. I've had a really difficult relationship with music for years now, actually. Like, long story short, the last few years, I've really just not been able to love music or write it like I used to be able to. And that's just been this kind of ongoing source of depression for just this thing that was like core to my personality and my existence has just been just like right there, but just entirely out of reach. Yeah, ever since I said in that last video, I'm really trying to finally get that music finished and put out in the first quarter of this year. I've actually been able to pick up my guitar frequently and play, and it's been something of a relief. I've not got there yet where I'm like writing new music and stuff again, but just the door is open again and I'm putting my toe back in the water, sort of thing. Yeah, that's been a really big thing for me, kind of in behind the scenes. But having said all of that stuff, the thing that's actually prevented me playing recently is I got massively derailed by Pal World coming out. I'm sure some people have also experienced Pal World and got sucked into it. I was a kid at the right age at the time the first Pokemon games came out. So this was like, oh, someone's finally made the kind of Pokemon game that we've all wanted for like decades now. Someone's finally gone and done it. Yeah, and it also being like a crafting survival game, I just got a bit too sucked into it and it took over my life for like 2 weeks. But yeah, it would also, that plus the Hermitcraft Season 10 starting has kind of reinvigorated my desire to play Minecraft again. So I'm back here, like, back on my world, like, designing builds and doing stuff, doing little grinding sessions and stuff, getting materials ready. So yeah, I'm back at it and all that good stuff. So yeah, next episode then is going to be the school build. I hadn't my original plan was to kind of go out and do a bunch of farms and stuff, like the flower farms, which I kind of just did anyway for this video. So, but yeah, I finished the school design like earlier than I anticipated. Yeah, and the resource grind for that was not fun. But yeah, that's where I'm going to bring things to a close for this time, guys. Right. I almost did it. I almost signed off without doing the socials thing. So I don't post regularly because I always forget and I'm bad at social media. But I made Twitter and Instagram accounts. If you want to follow me there, I'll try and be better about posting. But there's those links in the description. I'm pretty sure it's just at Draconis, the way I spell it, all stupid, on both of those platforms. And then last episode where I built all those houses, not the last video, which was the decked out video, which please go and watch the decked out video. I've still got to do the second part of that, but the decked out is so great. Okay, anyway, the last episode of this series, got a comment from, I hope I'm saying this right, Thomas Liptak. I how you say that. He mentioned, have I ever thought about making a Discord server? So I've done that. Link again is in the description. Yeah, thanks for your comment, dude. Super appreciate it. And thanks for suggesting the Discord thing. Yeah, guys, join the Discord and or follow me on whatever, or just comment here. Like, let's get a dialogue going and talk about Minecraft and lore and nerdy stuff. And yeah, like, big lore episode again. Nothing particularly new, but fleshing stuff out, which I think is equally as important. But yeah, any thoughts and feedback about the lore stuff, I'd love to hear it. I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer. I think of myself as a music writer, to some capacity. But yeah, this isn't my strong suit. So yeah, I'd love to get feedback on that. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you wouldn't mind helping me out, maybe you could drop a like on the video. And if you want to join me on my little world building journey here, maybe you could hit subscribe as well. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.